So this is Hetek Originals. I'm Peter Morvay, and today our guest in our studio is the Director General for International Affairs of the Ludovika University of Public Services, Liliana Śmiech. Thank you for coming to our studio.
Thank you very much for having me here.
We are living in a very, very exciting times. There are the commentators remark that it's about 2 weeks, or a little bit than 2 weeks past since the inauguration of President Trump, and things started to roll on in a very fast way on different fields. And your specialty is energy and geopolitics, and both of these fields are very in the forefront now, thanks to President Trump. He's very active on both fields. Maybe let's start with geopolitics, which is very interesting to see from Europe. The United States, as the slogan of President Trump says, is to make America great again. And the United States is a superpower and wants to become even stronger and more confident. What does that mean for other parts of the world?
That's a very good question, and I believe also very difficult one to answer. But what we need to understand is that, as you mentioned, the slogan "Make America Great Again" is mainly about United States of America. So what we can actually see already, what President Trump did or said or already signed, is mainly to make America great again, certainly. And the policies that he is introducing are mainly about either the security of the United States, or the well-being of the United States, or the citizens of the country itself. And to be honest, I believe it should be actually the policy of every country if we look at the countries all around the world. And the slogan of the Hungarian presidency in the EU, which was "Make Europe Great Again," is, I believe, the best example of it. So I think that's my feeling, is that very often we focus on others instead of focusing on ourselves, and to make our countries, our economies stronger and better and more competitive. So what President Trump is doing right now, he's trying to bring United States on the right track, to make it more competitive, to make it more highly developed, especially if we look at the AI, because you mentioned energy. We know very well the statements of President Trump regarding Greenland, recently regarding Ukraine as well, and the critical rare materials. It's all about innovation, I would say. It's all about this very developed technology. So what he is trying to do, he's trying to bring US on this first place, if you look at the innovation and the competitiveness of the country.
We are here in Europe, and looking at the situation from Europe, what is at stake? It seems that, well, even today as we speak, the European leaders are having a summit in Brussels, how to answer, how to cope with this new situation. What is at risk for Europe? What should Europe do in general? And then let's talk about our region, the Central European region. But let's first talk about the European Union as a whole. How should the European Union react to this new American policy?
There is a summit right now, and I've heard some of the statements from the Polish side, but at the same time from the French side. And as you can imagine, there's no common, let's say, ground to discuss them. What should Europe do? I believe we should focus on ourselves, because we love to focus on other regions with forgetting about what we should do, about our own economies, our own security. Well, first thing first, if we want to be good and reliable partner for the US, we should behave like one. So we cannot, hide We cannot be not confident. We need to be confident, and we also need to invest in our own security. We need to invest in our own competitiveness. And actually, these are the things that especially the last presidency was trying to bring to the table. Invest more in innovation, not put too much into bureaucracy, because we know that we love bureaucracy in the European Union, and sometimes or even often it is stopping the innovation. We need to be competitive. If we won't be, then nobody will talk to us on the same table, on the same level. So we should be as equal partner as we can be for United States, but not just for the United States. You know, it's not only European Union and just United States, which is also very often being forgotten especially in Europe. But there are other partners all around the world. There's China, there's India. There are many others that we should talk to, and we should discuss different things.
How can Europe improve its competitiveness?
Less bureaucracy, I would say, less bureaucracy. And what I will also do, we should actually prioritize our own, first of all, national economies. So we should produce as much as we can within our borders. Then we should focus on the European economy and on the European products. And then we should focus on the external ones. So I would say this should be our priority. If we can produce something, I don't know, in Poland, if we can produce something in Hungary, in Germany, I think this should be our priority. And then if we cannot, then we should go to our external partners. But we cannot completely, let's say, abandon that the fact that we are within certain organization. We are like one organism, and together, I believe, we can be more reliable partner on this international global stage.
It's interesting that you mentioned European bureaucracy. President Trump even set up a ministry, DOGE, for reducing American bureaucracy. Would it be possible something like that in Europe?
Well, I'm scared that if we would introduce a new kind of, EU body, it would increase the bureaucracy even more, because I'm pretty sure, there will be some kind of a body with some sub-bodies, and then they will meet, and then there will be some other committees. So I believe it would be a little bit difficult. So I wouldn't, let's say, create new bodies within already existing institutions, but I'm pretty sure that we would be able to somehow cut certain amount of the either people who are working in certain institutions, and also not actually creating problems where there are no problems. And my favorite example is if we talk about, let's say, climate policy of the European Union. There are certain things that we could do, and there's no doubt about them. But if I hear that there are committees in the European Parliament who are discussing how we can actually decrease the amount of the gases that, for example, cows are producing, I think that there are a little bit more important things that we could do. And what our MEPs could discuss during such meetings, and I believe there's plenty of such ideas, and because there are some voices saying that we are totally lost as the European Union. We won't be able to regain, let's say, the importance, or we won't be able to be as competitive as we would like to be. I don't believe in it like 100%. I'm quite optimistic, so I believe there's a bright future. Plus, if you look at the actual things that already happened, I believe we are still very powerful as the one organism. Let's look at the cables. The universal cables that the European that they were introduced in the European Union. So we actually pushed the companies that if they want to be on our market, if they would like to be in compliance with our regulations, they must go along our rules, which as a result was that Apple company, for example, had to be in compliance with our regulations. So, of course, it's about regulation. So I'm not saying to over-regulate everything, but I believe we have still some power over our external partners. So it's not the end. I believe there's still plenty of things we can do together. The only problem, I mean, not the only, but one of the problems I see is that we are focusing more on the ideologies rather than on the real problems and real issues.
That's exactly what I wanted to ask, because it is President Trump is reducing not only bureaucracy but ideology, the wokeness. And as he put it very plainly, he wants to give the opportunity for the American people to buy whatever car they want, electric or gas, or whatever. And in Europe, we are a little bit on a different track. We are focusing, we have been focusing more on ideology, on the climate issues as well. What does it take to change that kind of thinking?
That's very difficult, because if we look, let's say, at this region and I don't know, Hungary, for example, I would say that we don't have such dilemma. I mean, life here is super normal. I mean, it's good, and we don't need to fight with this kind of ideology. But if you go to Western Europe, it's completely lost in a way, because if you are presenting certain point of view, people don't even want to discuss anything with you. And the problem is that the debate nowadays is very emotional. So we lost, I'm saying we as a human, but in this region I don't see it, but in Western Europe we lost the touch with reality in a way, because we are not resolving the problems of ordinary average people. If we talk about the climate policy, if we talk about the Green Deal that was introduced, somehow the normal people were totally not taken into account. Because if we look at the Polish case and the energy poverty, for example, case, because that's the data that I was researching at my university and also in the think tank before. We were able to check that almost every fifth household in Poland is in danger of the energy poverty, which means that the household are not able to pay for the electricity bills in winter, so to make their houses warm in winter, or in summer it will be the case to make their houses cold. So actually to be just able to live a normal life, and people are not able to do such simple things, every almost fifth household. Which means that all of those crazy ideas that are being pushed, like electric vehicles, people in certain areas won't be able to, first of all, afford such thing, because they just don't, because they are focusing to make their house warm, or to just send their kids to school, or they are just excluded from the transportation lines. So, for example, there are no roads, or there's no no roads, maybe I'm exaggerating, but there are no facilities good enough to have certain, for example, electric vehicles, because there's no infrastructure for it. So I think we should go a little bit down to this level of average people and see if actually they want it. Because the elites in Brussels, they are very often, making decisions on behalf of the average citizens, but they have no touch with the reality. If we look at the commissioners in the European Commission, they're always telling us what we should do, how to take care of our children, to which schools they should be sent to, what they should read, whether they should take the public transportation. And okay, that's fine. But at the same time, they should go along with the things that they are saying. So there shouldn't be hypocrisy. And the problem is that on the one hand, they are saying these things to the average citizens, and on the other, they are increasing the budget for the private jet flights.
Okay.
So, there's some kind of either misunderstanding, or what are we talking about?
Yeah, if you take a look at the Davos conference,
exactly,
all the private jets there. But if you take a look at, for example, Germany, their energy policy seems to be, some people say it outright crazy, that in the middle of a war, which have cut them off from the cheap Russian energy, they have still shut down their own nuclear plants. And now they are vulnerable to in their economy, and that makes a big problem. Is also for our country, our countries in the region.
Yeah, I agree, because all of the Central Eastern European countries are somehow anchored to German economy, which is normal because it's one of the biggest economies in the European Union. The thing that is quite surprising is that how such big economy that has so much influence in the European Union could like immediately close its nuclear power plants and become completely vulnerable, and actually even import energy from neighboring countries, or going back to coal. Where on the other hand, Germany was one of those who was pushing the Green Deal and actually the need to abandon the dirty energy resources. So I would say it's quite surprising if we look at it from this perspective. And especially if Germany is trying to play this leader within the institutions itself, well, as a leader, I believe you should also take into account the needs of the more, I mean, like poorer or not as developed as you are economies, and somehow it was not taken into account.
If you take at the decisions of the German government, it is difficult not to think about that. Maybe it's a influence of the of America, because the advantages on their side from this situation, and that leads back to the first question: that do we have to be a little bit afraid of a strong America? Because if they can just convince so easily a European big country, then what can do even the smaller ones?
Mm-hmm. Well, if we should be afraid of a strong United States.
Just let me say, I read a lot of comments from viewers, and many of them are very skeptical of the United States, and not only the older, the previous government, the Biden government. That's especially, but even today's the United States led by President Trump. Okay, it's good for them. It's clear. Yeah. But if they got stronger and stronger, even. They used to be before, then it will be a problem for smaller countries.
Well, I mean, it's always more difficult for smaller countries. So it's not just the United States, but on the European level, it's always more difficult for the smaller economies rather than for the big ones, because we don't have much to say, unfortunately, if you look at the separate countries. I think we shouldn't be scared, at least now, because why should we? First of all, if we look at the actions of the United States and the threats, probably you're mentioning mainly the imposing of the tariffs. On the one hand, yes, but if we look what happened with the tariffs that were imposed, firstly on Mexico and Canada, well, the next day they were taken back. So, my question would be, then is this threat actually, let's say, so reliable? I mean, if, once you are imposing something and then you're taking your decision back, what will you do in the future? I mean, threat is one thing, but the actual action is the other. Regarding the European Union, of course, the tariffs were being mentioned by the President Trump, but I listened to his speech during the inauguration, and actually European Union was not mentioned even once, which was also quite surprising, which can also mean that, let's say, we are not the priority of the new upcoming administration. I mean, at that time, upcoming now the actual administration. So I don't think so. We should be scared. We should be more confident. And actually, what I'm scared of is that the leaders of the European Union will try to build this strong relationship with President Trump, even actually, with actually telling him exactly they will do 100% what he's asking for. So what I'm scared of is that there will be no solidarity within the European countries, especially if we look at the current, let's say, strong partners of the United States in the European Union. And I would mention here mainly Hungary with your Prime Minister and Italy. So I would say these are the very strong points, 2 points on the map of the European Union that that already had a strong relationship with President Trump, and I don't feel like they need to, prove him that they are the best and they can do more and more. I'm a little bit more skeptical about those countries that don't really have a relationship, or actually were very vocal before the elections and were openly criticizing or even offending President Trump in a very, I would say, rude manner. And maybe they will do anything just to try to sneak closer to President Trump and forget about some kind of single market or the thing that we're actually all together at the end of the day. So these are the things that I'm scared. I'm not scared, about the potential, tariffs or policies that President Trump can impose, because he's a businessman at the end of the day. And I'm pretty sure we can have a good negotiations and negotiate in favor. Well, I hope if we meet, in 6 months or 1 year, I won't say that I was wrong. I hope I will be right after some time. But I wouldn't be scared. No, I mean, come on, it's like in a business. If you will come to the negotiation table and you will be shaking, oh, come on, the negotiation is over. So if we look at it from this more business perspective, I don't think we have many things to be scared of.
Thank you that you have argued with our viewers, hopefully.
Yes.
If you have reactions, I will pass it on to you, so we can then next time we can continue from them. There's a famous saying, maybe it was President Reagan who told it, but I'm not sure, that he told that please give me a telephone number in Europe whom I should call.
Uh-huh.
And in this era, do you think that it might be the Hungarian Prime Minister who has the telephone number for Europe for President Trump, or maybe the Italian Prime Minister Meloni?
No, I'm pretty sure it could be Prime Minister Orban, and I don't see anything against it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that he could be, and he is, I'm pretty sure, a voice of the European Union in a way, but I'm pretty sure that some of the leaders of the European Union won't be very happy about it, because before they were the ones who were playing, in Polish we say the first violin, in the game. And but yeah, if you look at the current situation, I'm pretty sure it will be, or it is already, Prime Minister Orban, or I would say that Italy is also a big competitor on this stage. But why not to have triangle? Why not Hungary, Italy, and the United States?
Could it be that in Europe the future will be more patriotic? It's natural for the United States. The United States has always been a patriotic country. There has been presidents who emphasize it more, some are less, but basically it is a very patriotic country. In Europe, we saw a different trend in recent decades, and now there's a strong movement, a strong patriotic movement in Europe. Do you think that Europe could be transformed in this way into a more patriotic continent, a conglomeration of patriotic nations?
I would love it.
Or it is too late?
Well, I would love it. I would love it to happen, but I'm not sure if it's possible to be introduced. Well, in Central Eastern Europe, I believe it's a little bit different, because we have different histories. We are on a different level if you look at our economies, on the infrastructure. So here, I would say it's something very natural for us to love our nation and be proud of it. And what I'm noticing in the Western world, they are either not very proud of their countries, or they're being taught that they shouldn't be actually proud of it. The other thing is that we don't have, and we didn't experience as many migration flows in this region. If we look at France or Sweden or Germany, they have millions of migrants. So the question here is, are you actually able to teach migrants to love country that is not actually the country of origin. So I'm pretty sure it would be possible, but the question is if it is possible, because now we have not the first generation of the migrants, but third or fourth or fifth. So it might be very, very difficult.
We have talked mostly about the American-European relations, but there are other parts of the world, and we in Europe are closer to other parts of the world. What alternatives could Europe have, either in terms of energy or in terms of trade, to connect to other non-US parts of the world?
That's a very easy question, I must say. Well, if we look at especially at the energy sector, I mean, the answer is obvious because it is China. And if we look at the energy transition in the European Union, in the way it looks right now, I'm quite confident to say that there is no energy transition in the European Union without China at this moment, because first of all, the policy in the European Union is pushing us to abandon the dirty energy resources. All right, but what is the alternative? So the alternative is either the nuclear power plants, but also we don't know if it will stay as the so-called clean energy resource. I mean, it's according to the,
it's clean until it works.
Exactly. So what would be the solution? So what is happening right now? We are investing a lot of money in the renewable resources. Solar panels, the windmills, and actually most of the parts to them are coming from China. The components that are being used to build them, they're also either located in China or actually China has actually influence on them. If we look at the rare earth materials that are crucial not just for the energy transition but to many other sectors of our living, around 98% of those who are coming to the European Union are being controlled by China. So, we need to ask the questions. We need to ask ourselves a question in the European Union. So, do we want to have the energy transition, the one that was already introduced and everyone agreed on it, but it means that actually in most of the cases we are relying on China, or we are just abandoning it and everyone should do whatever they want to? So I would say the alternative to US is I would say China at this moment. But I don't really like this one alternative or just the other. I think what is quite important, and there are several countries in the European Union who are quite good in it, is this not just one, let's say one strategy. There's this connections to many other different regions, and I think that would be the most effective one especially for certain countries, because there are landlocked countries, there are countries that have access to sea and they can, for example, buy LNG from US, and for Poland it might be much easier. But there are landlocked countries who don't have as many possibilities as the others. So why we cannot let others to trade with the countries they want to trade? This is the thing that I completely don't understand. Why we need to all go in the same direction, in the same stream? Why we cannot let the others to have their own connections? And if they would like to trade, I don't know, with Uzbekistan, they should be able to. If others want to have a trade with, I don't know, Morocco, they should be able to. The problem is that if you are not in the mainstream, it means that you are either not in compliance with the regulation and you will be punished, or you will be excluded from the decision making procedures in the European Union. Even though the motto of the European Union is united in diversity, but unfortunately it's only united in diversity if the diversity is the mainstream.
And what about the Middle East? How can the Middle East help Europe?
You mean with the resources?
Energy resources. We could hear even news that in the eastern basin of the Mediterranean Sea there's been huge resources of natural gas and oil, and countries, Israel, Lebanon, looking for and Turkey, routes to Europe to connect to the European energy supply. Of course, it's a difficult region.
Yeah.
But it's also one of the regions that President Trump wants to cut a new deal.
Yeah.
So let's if we look forward in the future, how could the Middle East get involved in European energy policy?
Well, I mean, if we are discussing the diversification of the European Union, I believe the more the better. So if, for example, certain countries in Middle East could be reliable partners for us to buy from them certain energy resources, I'm very much open for it. The more the better. The more we can diversify our energy mix as specific countries, but also as the European Union itself, I think the better, because we will be more secure. If one partner says no, okay, but we have 10 others who can let's say help us if we will lose another one. So I'm very much open for it.
And one last question. Historically, Poland and Hungary, the Polish people and the Hungarian people are very close to each other, friendly nations. But in these months and years, a little bit relations are a little bit frozen, and that's why it's very good that you are here in Budapest, and of course I'm sure that you are helping to thaw this frozen world. What could help, even taking into account the political differences between the two governments? How could we help? I mean, in the media, in the economy, to survive this era?
Well, first of all, I think what is important is to give the floor, and thank you very much for giving it also to me, to either, in Poland for the Hungarian experts, but at the same time here for some Polish, let's say, opinions, because, we don't hear much of it. We only hear, the big newspapers who are actually repeating the things that either government says or what the mainstream says. So what I think in Poland is lacking is this the direct stream of from Hungary. So I think what we should increase the amount of the actual Hungarian experts who are able to participate either in certain programs or interviews, etc., or being present on different conferences. On the other hand, I would say we should increase the exchange of the people. Students, researchers, and that's what we are also doing at NKE. And on the other hand, I believe what could actually improve our relationship, because on the, I would say, society level, it's quite good. I would say it's good because it's able to work independently from the, let's say, governmental affairs. And I believe it's good. If I ask some of my friends or my grandparents, they love Hungary. They have very good memories with Hungary. They were coming here when they were much younger, in the communist times, when Hungary actually was a much richer country than Poland was at this time. So they have great memories. But I'm sure that what could also help is on this, let's say, more political and governmental level, especially if we look what is happening in Poland, is to, I know it's impossible, but to actually state that Hungarian political elites were right with certain issues. I know politicians will never say that someone was right and they were wrong, but if we look at what's happening right now with the debate on the war in Ukraine. So what was, what was being said in Hungary by the either experts or the political elites, was something super exotic in the European Union, in Poland. But, it became the reality and actually the normality. So what was being said some time ago now is a total normality in Poland. So I think what Polish politicians could actually state is that Prime Minister Orbán was right with certain issues, and maybe we should just state it. I know now I'm some idealist, but
but it is now we can turn back to President Trump. He told that now there is a revolution of common sense that is going on, and that needs for Europe as well. Liliana, thank you very much for telling about these very important issues and very up-to-date issues. We are looking forward to continue this discussion.
Thank you very much.